I've talked about extending love to others, to people, to your significant others, despite how they're behaving. And a number of people have said to me, I spent 25 years extending love to my narcissistic husband, and it didn't do any good. No. I want you to understand that I'm not talking. Well, you should extend love to everyone, but that doesn't mean you should hang out with them. If you've got a narcissistic husband who's abusive and unloving, maybe it should occur to you sometime in the 25 years that, much sooner than 25 years that, extending love isn't really working. It's not changing him. But if you think you can change a narcissist, or if you think you personally can change a borderline personality disorder person by extending love, it's very unlikely. If I gave you that impression, no. Very toxic people, sociopaths, narcissists, it's not going to happen. I'm talking about relationships in general. I'm talking about relationships where couples just fight with each other, and argue and have their grievances and resentments, and it is possible, if you really do maintain a loving approach. Everything is love or a call for love, so respond with love. It can work. It can transform. But the bottom line is, when I tell people to forgive others, when I tell people to extend love to others, no matter how they're behaving, ultimately, let me tell you something. It's got nothing to do with them. It's got nothing to do, we're not talking about changing them at all. Okay? Ultimately, if that's just icing on the cake if it happens. I recommend you extend love. You try to see through the eyes of love rather than hate, through love rather than fear. Try to extend love as possible, as much as you can, wherever you can, without condition, without exception. Be loving, be forgiving, be as accepting as possible. We do this for our own good. It has nothing to do with them, whether they respond or not, whether they're happy or sad or angry or receptive, or they're still toxic or non-toxic. We forgive and love others for our own peace of mind, to release ourselves of all the negative charge and crap and resentment and bitterness and judgment, and antagonism, grievance. Deeply buried in our subconscious mind is all this crap that actually brings us down, that wears us down, that leads to our own sort of guilt, shame, self-loathing, and self-sabotage. We forgive and love and accept others for our own peace of mind. Ultimately, it has nothing to do with trying to change them, make them better people. Yeah, it's great to be a role model of right action. It's great to be somebody who's loving and forgiving. I'm not talking about being a doormat. I'm not talking about staying with a toxic, narcissistic person. But if you feel you can't, you have to stay for financial reasons or something, you got to stay with a toxic person, then, find a way, as I've said before, to neutralize their negativity in your mind. They call you names. You don't give that name a power. You have an invisible shield that rejects their antagonism, their negativity, their labels. Okay, you don't go down that road, and if you choose to forgive them, for they know not what they do, you're healing yourself. All right, so this is complicated stuff. It's counterintuitive to a lot of people. The source of this philosophy is a spiritual cognitive therapy program called A Course in Miracles. It's difficult reading. It's difficult getting it. It's difficult, if you do get it, to actually apply it. I try to do these videos, these podcasts to help people, to encourage them. But I try to do in common language, in everyday language, everyday speak. And not complicated Course in Miracles speak. I try to share the message that everything is love or fear. Every thought, every action, every emotion, there's only two thoughts, love or fear. And it's complicated to get, but it's complicated to read. There are materials out there that try to break it down and make it easier to understand. My book, Forgive to Win, is based on A Course in Miracles principles. It's based on the Sermon on the Mount principles. It's based on 12-step principles. Uh, it's good stuff. Try it. Try to extend love regardless of what is happening. And you may just have actually a miraculous moment of transformation. With a narcissist, probably not.